I'll have the city attorney announce closed session.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. We have two items on for closed session. Number one is conference with legal counsel, existing litigation. Paragraph 1 of subdivision D of section 54956.9. The case is Joseph Minor versus City of Desert Hot Springs, case number 824CV02793 MSCE. The second item is conference with legal counsel, existing litigation, same paragraph, same subdivision. Name of the case is City of Desert Hot Springs versus K, Riverside County, case number CVPS 2300272.
And we'll recess. Mayor Pro Tem, I'm going to start. We have two presentations tonight, but one. Unfortunately, our police chief caught that cold that everybody has and will not be here tonight for the swearing in. As most of you know, our longtime police chief, Jim Henson, is retired, and our deputy chief, Shaw, who's been with our city for 5 years, has taken on the role of chief, and we were going to do the official swearing in tonight with him and his family. But unfortunately, he came down with that cold that everybody's been having for weeks, and he will not be here tonight. So we're going to move that to the next meeting. But we do have to honor some of our commissioners. So what happens when each council member, there's two commissions in the City of Desert Hot Springs, one's a planning commission and one's a public safety commission. And each council member gets to pick a member of our community to serve on that commission, and that's ratified by the city council. Obviously there was an election recently, a new city council, and the city council has made their picks and ratified that. And so we have a new planning commission and a new public safety commission. But we like to honor the people who have served our community. I think the planning commission gets a whole $100 for serving, or is it 50? Is it $100? $100 for serving, and the public safety commission gets the respect. Right, Kenneth? Yeah. We really do appreciate all of you that did serve our community, and I just want to call them up if they are here. Leroy, I don't see Leroy's not here tonight, but we'll get that certificate to him. Leroy served on our planning commission. Mary Kate, I see she's here tonight. If you want to come up and stand right here, I'll give you a minute. I'm going to get everybody up here all at once, and we'll get it. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for your service. Mr. Dirk Voss, he promoted himself to the city council. I don't know if that's a real promotion or not. It's a little more scrutiny, isn't it? But Dirk served on our planning commission, and he served as our chair, so we're going to have him come on up, and thank you for your service. I don't see Caden Cross. I don't see him here. Martin Mitchell. And his brother Kenneth. Oh, I'm sorry. No, they have the same last name, but they're not brothers. How are you? All right. Martin, this one's yours. And Kenneth, this one's yours. And again, I just want to say on behalf of the City of Desert Hot Springs, thank you for all your service to the City of Desert Hot Springs. It comes with a lot of work. We all have our opinions on what we think our city should look like, but you took the vision of our city council and you guys moved it forward in public safety and in our planning commission. So thank you. Would any of you like to say a few words?
May I?
You may.
Those of you who heard me before, he's in, oh, here he goes. So I promise to be brief. First, I'd like to...
Why is it 3 pages?
Well, it's actually 5. You know, my eyesight's worse than yours. Your Honor, the Mayor, esteemed council members, thank you for allowing me to be here tonight and for the honor of being thanked for the privilege of serving. I'm grateful to former council member Roger Nunez for the appointment. This was a new experience for me. I learned a lot. And I got the opportunity, as I promised my fellow firefighters as I retired, to serve once more. So I'm appreciative of that as well. mission accomplished. I was asked to serve for a purpose, and we got that purpose done. New paramedic squad in service. You know, you've fought a long time for that. Station 98 forthcoming, and I think the apparatus that's going to fill that station is the right apparatus for a growing city and a changing fire service, as well as a regional resource. To the police department, fire department, animal control, code enforcement, who I worked with, as well as the city staff I've had the pleasure of meeting and working with. All intelligent, capable people. You guys are money in the bank as far as I'm concerned, as a citizen and as former commissioner. To Jim Henson, who I used to work with, congratulations. You will come to appreciate retirement as I have. Stephen Shaw, congratulations on your ascendancy to the chieftainship. Congratulations and thoughts and prayers. Frank Lucchino, the former city manager, it was a pleasure meeting and working with you if you're watching us tonight. And Ms. Wilms, Toria, it was nice working with you. If it was up to me, interim would be deleted from your title. Okay? If my help is requested in the future, I'd like to remind us all of the lyrics of the great song from the Spinners in the 1970s. I'll be there. I'll be around. Thank you.
Sure, yeah. Hey, Mary Kate Stover, and former planning commissioner, and I just want to thank the city council for the honor of serving and the community at large, also for the honor of serving, and I'd be happy to do it again, and thank you very much.
Martin Mitchell, and I would just like to thank everyone. I'd like to thank Gary for the appointment. I just moved to the city, and one of the first individuals I met after I moved to the city was Gary. And when he asked me, I felt very honored because I have served on other committees, so it was a pleasure serving the city of Desert Hot Springs.
Now you have to. Now you have to say something.
I'm just going to say thank you to the residents of District 4 for the promotion.
You guys step back here. We're going to take a picture with the city council.
You guys want to hold your certificate?
Open it up.
Our resident paparazzi.
1, 2, 3. Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your service.
Thanks, Scott.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you. Hope to see you around.
Thank you for your service. And thank you for promoting. Yeah. We're going to be adjourned until 6 o'clock for the regular meeting. Thank you. All right, good evening, everybody. We're going to call back to order the City of Desert Hot Springs regular meeting of the City Council, and the City Council serving as the successor agency to the former Redevelopment Agency Board for Tuesday, March 18th, 2025. This is our 6 p.m. regular session, and this is an amended agenda. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Pitts. Present. Councilmember Pai.
Here.
Councilmember Voss.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Gardner.
Present.
And Mayor Mattis.
Present. And as mentioned before, the queue is working again, so feel free to use that when we get to items. Our invocation tonight will be given by Councilmember Voss.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Lord, we want to thank you for allowing us to serve you and the residents and businesses in our city. I want to thank you for providing the foundation for us to build upon and make smart decisions for our residents and businesses. Lord, we thank you for serving us and providing us with staff and leadership to carry out yours and our goals. We ask that you put a shield of protection over the city, keep us safe, open doors to allow us to grow unified as one, and keep us as a community together as one. Amen.
All right, our Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Councilmember Pitts. allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam City Attorney, do you have any report on closed session?
No, Mr. Mayor, there's no reportable action.
Next item is the approval of the agenda. At this time, City Council may amend the order of the agenda, approve the consent calendar, or remove any items from the consent calendar to separate discussion and action. Is there any items that need to be removed from the consent calendar?
Yes, sir. Number 8.
Number 8?
Yep.
2024 Housing Element Annual Progress Report.
Yes.
That will be removed. Any other items? Is there anybody in the audience who would like to speak on items 7, 9, 10, 11? That's it. See nobody coming forth. I'll take a motion to approve the agenda and the remaining consent calendar items.
Second.
Please vote.
Motion passes unanimously.
We're going to move to public comments. At this time, I'll have one blue card. Anybody has a blue card on public comments on items not on the agenda may give them to the city clerk up there. Oh, I got two. I got another one coming up. At this time, pursuant to the Brown Act, any person may comment on matters of general interest within the subject matter jurisdiction of the city council not listed on the agenda. Under the Brown Act, the city council shall not take action on or discuss matters raised during public comment portion of the agenda that are not listed on the agenda. All comments are to be directed to the city council and shall be devoid of any personal attacks. Members of the public are expected to maintain a professional, courteous decorum during public comments. Mr. Johnson, Eddie Johnson.
That's on. City Council, city officials, workers, and residents. I'm a Veterans Park caretaker, Edward Johnson, and I noticed the sign, the black lettering on the sign are coming real faded. Is there any way we can get some paint to touch that up? Would I be able to do that, or be against the city coordinates? And we have one thing, always when we do Veterans Day or Memorial Day, we always have a situation, somebody likes to walk their dog and not pick up after them. And I wonder if we can get a dog park sign up there that says no dogs unless on a leash, because it's not fair, it's not polite, it's not respectful for the veterans at that park. Number 3, I did 2. I want to talk about Doria. Doria's doing the acting as city manager. You know what would be really nice is have Doria become the permanent city manager, because she's been here the longest. She's not going to retire anytime soon. She knows this whole city because she is from here. Make her the city manager. We'd all be happy. She knows everything. She's very knowledgeable in this city.
I appreciate the comments, but there is an agenda item today on that, so you might want to stick around till the end of the meeting and make those comments, but unless you need to make them now because you have to leave.
No, I just don't like driving in the dark.
Okay.
Also, because I am a disabled veteran from the Vietnam War, and I go to the senior center, I am doing a special hero coffee hour, which represents any veteran of the age 50 plus or senior age would like to come in and speak to my group. I've done 2 meetings already there at the senior center at 11777 West Drive. I remember that. And it's just so we just communication and free coffee for veterans. So I think this is going to last a long time. A lot of people really like it, and I'm happy with it. So that's all, and I'll stick around for the other. Thank you.
Thanks, Eddie. Thanks for all your service. Ms. Thomas. That microphone it'll come down if you need it.
I'm pretty loud without it as well. Good evening, everybody. Thank you. I just always want to commend everybody of the wonderful job that I think that you are doing, and everything here in the growing city of Desert Hot Springs. And I think this is more of a county issue, but this is the only place I have to be able to get to those said persons. I am spoke a couple months ago, right after the fires, of trying to be able to get a hold of our CERT, our available CERT person. And this was also an issue in the high desert with the San Bernardino side of there not being an available CERT person. It seems to be, I still have not gotten a personal response, and now we're in March. That was in January. So that concerns me a little bit, and I just would like to maybe figure out if somebody could meet or talk with me or give me an information or how to really connect with that person or how to be able to get an available person, because it seems like we just don't have an actual person that's really assigned to us. I might be wrong. So that was just where I was at with that, in case of anything moving in the future. And thank you for hearing my little tidbit of 2 cents for the evening, and thank you. Moving into the new season. Hope everybody has a great evening. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll get some staff to get you that contact. Matthew. Matthew is my last speaker card, so if anyone would like to speak in public comments, this is the second call.
That's hard to.
Matthew, can you push that mic
Yeah,
up?
sure.
They want to hear you on TV too.
Oh, then I just push it down. Yeah, I went to a church, which I usually don't go, but I went to the church on 8th and Palm. And during the service, he spoke about having children's church across the street at the hotel. Sometimes they rent things out over there. But what was concerning was he said that it was a racetrack, so they wouldn't be doing that. So they're going to try to build a children's church on their own property. Just with that said, there was a car accident just a couple of days ago. And the bigger picture is all down Palm, say all the way down to Browntown, which they call it, which is racist. In Browntown, they have no sidewalks. I'll just throw that in there. And the soccer field would have been a nice place to actually do a baseball field. It's pretty big. But the bigger picture is that year by year, people get hit by cars on Palm. People from all around that's moving to this great city, they seem not to, well, it seems like they're kind of lawless. And I understand that the city is improving, and it's beautiful, and especially to hear prayer. It's awesome. But God's house is spotless, has no dust. It's in order. It just seems like the streets are like a race car track. I would just suggest maybe a police officer at all times on Palm. It's kind of boring to just keep going up and down, but so the matter is just that it's really dangerous on Palm. The cars seem not to have any respect for people's lives. And if there's a quota, I say put a quota in, because no one seems to care. I don't know how many people do have to die, how many people that are homeless that are just trying to get by have to get hit. So we care about children, we care about the safety of life. So I think we should address that to the police station, that Palm needs to be a more safer place for people to go about their day. And that was it.
Thank you, Matthew. I don't like referring to that neighborhood either as by its name, so I refer to it as the legal name, which is Dos Palmas area.
There you go. God bless you guys. Thank you.
All right. We have no other public comments unless anybody would like to come forward this time. Yep. Kent.
Hi, Ken Anderson, resident. I just wanted to say a few thank yous. About last week, we had graffiti put on our neighborhood in 3 different places. I called it in, and within, I would say, an hour or just over an hour, our graffiti guy was out there doing a great job, and by the end of the day, it was all gone. And it was pretty disgusting comments that were put on the walls. Gary is well aware of it. But I just wanted to say a thank you, and I think that's one of the great services that this city does, and I think it's money well spent. I also wanted to thank Daniel. He came by one of our Citizens on Patrol meetings last month, our monthly meeting, introduced himself, explained what he's about, where he came from, and I thought that was really cool on his part. Also, I want to thank Doria and staff. I got a copy of the newsletter that just went out. I thought it was fantastic, and it's something that this city needed for a long time, and hopefully will keep on coming, which I understand it will. But it was very informative, and it let everybody know what's going on so that you don't just put out, hey, we're doing this, and then nobody hears anything for 6 months or more. Now we got an update, and it's really cool. And just one final comment, I agree, keep her.
Thank you, Ken. Any other final public comments on items not on the agenda?
Council, I am Dennis Hannon. I'm wife of Marilyn Hannon. Many of you know her. I did something basic and boring in the city and went online and put in a request to have a pothole fixed. That was Saturday. It's fixed. Thank you.
Well, we try not to be typical government, and that's 2 potholes filled quickly in the last month, so that's awesome. Good job with Public Works. Any other public comments before I close public comments? Yes, sir.
I'm sorry I'm late. My name's Harold Felton. I'm a new one-year resident of Desert Hot Springs. Hi, wow. I came into the planning office because I was interested in putting in a windmill. And it's a little windmill, and it's rated for use in residential areas in Germany, and it's made by this German dude. And all the instructions are in German, which I'm still working through. And I brought some flyers, and I was going to ask if there's any way to, what do I need to do in the planning department to make this work? And they said, oh, you can't make windmills in here. And it's small, it's less than me, it's 1.5 meters. Apparently in Germany, if it's less than 2 meters, they don't regulate it the same way. So I was wondering if we could put together some regulations. I don't know what they are or any of that kind of stuff, but I'd like to start the process of a conversation about putting little personal windmills. It's like the personal solar idea. I brought a few of these, which I'll leave here, and I don't have anything other than that to say. My other thought was that if it's under a certain size, maybe the city council would consider it like a dishwasher. It's just something you do in your house, and you don't have to worry about it. We don't have to make regulations. So that was
great. If you want to take those flyers, hand them to the city clerk. He'll make sure we get them. I'll have somebody from our city staff meet you in the back of the room to discuss it with you.
Thank you very much.
You're so welcome. Any other public comments? All right, we're going to close public comments for now. We'll go to city manager's report.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor, City Council, the residents. Thank you for all the nice, kind words tonight. The first thing I want to actually make an announcement on, I know the City Council is aware of this, but I do want to just make an announcement to the community that upon my naming of interim city manager, I've made some adjustments here accordingly for daily operations. Of course, we still have Danny Porras here as our deputy city manager, but I've also named Christina Newsom, another acting deputy city manager. Between the two of them, they both oversee a spread of departments to support daily operations. So we will have an org chart put up on the website, so anybody that needs assistance can find that. Next, I'd like to ask Jeffrey Buckheim, our Administrative Services Director, to provide some financial highlights.
Thank you and good evening. For our financial highlights for the General Fund and Public Safety Fund for fiscal year 24-25, as of the end of February, our revenues are over $17.9 million, which is at 50% of the amended budget. Last year at this time, our revenues were at 16.6, which were also at 50% of the budget. And 2 years ago, our revenues were at 15.5, which was 47% of the budget. For expenditures this year, we're at $22.5 million, which is at 63% of the amended budget. Last year at this time, we were at 22.1 million, which is at 64%. And 2 years ago, we were at 19.5 million, which is at 55%. And the budget estimates for fiscal year 24-25 include the mid-year budget adjustments that council approved last meeting. And that is my report.
Thank you, Jeffrey, and that concludes my updates.
Great. We'll go to mayor and council member comments. Who did I start with last? I think I started with Daniel last time, so I'll start with Mr. Voss this time.
Okay. All right. Let's see. So the Greater Coachella Valley Chamber held at the Sunline facility a legislative breakfast where County Supervisor Perez was the guest speaker and spoke about some of the county issues and just kind of what's going on with some of the different services and the like. People did some Q&A with him. It was good. You know, a number of different cities, businesses and the likes that were there. So that was good to hear. Also that same day, myself and Mayor Pro Tem Gardner and Councilwoman Pai, we all went to the Cal Cities at dinner in Corona, which was really informative. I think, what was that, RCTC? And so we had and a few others, and you guys, I won't steal the show, you guys piggyback on that. That was really informative to give us some updates on what's going on in Riverside County. Then we attended the Desert X opening preview toast. So I didn't realize that a cello with the wind fixed towards different sides of a rock stone gave a different sound. Who knew? I know. I know. Then on the 12th, attended the senior center. They had a meet and greet for the council members there. That was a lot of fun. Brought a pen, pad of paper, took a list of stuff down. Staff is addressing those issues, which is great. A lot of enthusiasm. It was really enjoyable, you know, and the things that they got going on over there. Just, I think, what did they say? They got now over 500 members that regularly go and everything, so that was nice. And let's see, the Saturday attended the Seroptimus House of Hope. It was a luncheon where Courtney Moe, who's a resident of our town, got an award for his activities and contributions to the Seroptimus and the House of Hope. And so it was really nice to see a resident from Desert Hot Springs getting that, when this is, their group is valley-wide. And it was somebody from our hometown that got that award. And then lastly, and this is probably how the chief got sick, is it was the Little League opening day, and we had probably, 300 kids that smacked your hand and, either hit it really hard or lightly, whatever they did, and did that. And of course, if you were smart, you had sanitizer right soon after. Chief probably didn't. He got sick, I didn't. I got to catch the opening day pitch. I caught it. And somewhere around here, there's a video. I don't know why we didn't post that up here, right? Yeah, I kind of had a little faux pas thing, but it was because the power guy threw it so hard.
Yes.
That was it. And so I kind of, and just to be fair, though, I'm left-handed. They didn't have a left-handed glove. They only had a right-handed glove. So I still caught it. But I kind of did a little tumble. It was fun, though.
It definitely was fun to watch. It was a ram that was throwing the ball. It was, you were lucky to catch it. Ms. Pai.
Mark Meyer is a trustee for COD, and he wanted to see all of the COD campuses, and he came here to see the one there. Well, the staff member wants a sign. You don't know that COD is there on West. And so originally he was supposed to show and forgot to tell me that he wasn't showing. So I told him he owes me a sign. And then when he came this time, Daniel Porras and Christina Newsom also came with us, and there was another person that came. and I assigned him as the person that I'm going to bug about the sign. Because you see Winslow, but you don't see the sign. And so, but he did give us some very good information, and Mr. Porras is going to follow up on that. The other thing, I guess I'm just going to say today, we had Ophelia Luncheon. And Ophelia is a part of the John F. Kennedy Foundation. And who is a part of that is Candace Tarrant, Pastor Randa, Christina Philippi, who these are the, on the right is Christina Philippi, and she works here in a recreational center, and Roberta Cernick, who has a lot of titles, and I'll just leave it at that. She also works here, and there she is in the middle. She also works here also. We had 15 seniors, and there they are, that applied for scholarships. And 8 of them received scholarships. 2 received $1,500 each in scholarships. 1 from another organization received $1,500. 4 of the seniors received 5,000 scholarships each, and 1 received 5,000 for every year, which is 5,000 for 4 years of college. I got an email from Tinoco, the principal of Desert Hot Springs High School, and he was very impressed. He sees us come in, but that's all he knows. And one of the teachers who had to take the girls there for the luncheon said how impressed he was, and that this meant a lot to the students and that it changed their lives. There are 453 seniors, and what we do with them is we teach them that they're worth it, that they're loved, and that anything that they want to do, they can do. And there's 453 seniors throughout the Coachella Valley. 51 are seniors, and all of them are graduating. 3.5 are their grade average or higher, and all of them are in the top 10 in their classes. And the theme for today, and I'm going to say this, and I'm quoting from someone else, remember, it's a girl's world. One of the board members is male, and he said everyone has a mother or a grandmother. Women inspire men to become useful. I'm quoting. Nobody's laughing, so I guess it's real. Also, when a person gets promoted in the city, I do a dance. So, Christine, here you go.
Thank God you're dancing, no one else. You're the one that has the moves. Mr. Gardner, you have any moves?
Not really.
Okay.
And I have to commend Councilwoman Pai. We have a COD campus. I'm shocked. There's no sign. I'm glad you're working on that. I wanted to congratulate the ad team at Visit Greater Palm Springs. They produced an ad for Desert Hot Springs, and it won a Gold Addy Award for Best Local and National Spot. Gerald, play it.
In the desert, adventure begins the moment you step outside. Surrounded by a landscape painted by nature itself, Desert Hot Springs is a city full of renewal and discovery. An escape as unforgettable as the ones you share it with. Plan your summer getaway at visitdeserthotsprings.com.
Isn't that something? I know, right? Shows off the quality of the ads that Visit Greater Palm Springs and JNS, which is our own advertising agency here too, produce not only for the tourism but for Desert Hot Springs. And it's, you know, it's easy for them to produce stuff like that because we have this, right? So that's why it's easy for them to produce it. Some more good news too. The Coachella Valley Conservation Commission, which I chair, was awarded a grant from Cal Recycle for $500,000, $500,000, to address illegal dumping cleanup and conservation lands here in Desert Hot Springs. Gerald, pull up the slide. See all those little purple dots? That's where that money is going. A lot of that money is going to clean up sites there in Desert Hot Springs in our conservation lands. Most of that is earmarked for our 15 sites here. Funds are also going to be used to put in several miles of more fencing and boulders to block access on select parcels within the city, and 2 years of 4 flock security cameras. So we can use those flock security cameras to catch people going out there and dumping it. So it's $500,000 from Cal Recycle for our city to do that. So that's been a pressing need for a long time and a big priority for this council, so I'm really happy to see that. Attended the opening reception for Desert X and was delighted to be able to cover for the mayor and welcoming the attendees and the artists and making the toast to open the exhibit. Alas, it was tequila and not scotch this year, but we survived. The LA Times today said that the 2 best installations in this year's Desert X are right here in Desert Hot Springs. The Act of Being Together, which is that big stone block one off Worsley Road that you can see from the 62, and the Soul Service Station, which is right off of Pearson and Indian, and is my favorite one. And we have 2 more here in Desert Hot Springs up the hill on Pearson, and 7 more throughout the valley. Desert X runs through May 11th. Plenty of time to get out there and see that. If you haven't yet, make it a point to go see the Desert X sites. As mentioned, we all went to the Senior Center and got a chance to visit with a number of the members there and enjoyed chatting with them. And we do have a great Senior Center here in town. Membership is growing, and if you haven't gone, you should. It's really a really cool place, and we want to, I think, expand that and make it even better as part of our long-term plans. We also attended the Cal Cities Riverside Division meeting in Corona, which was a 2.5-hour drive to Corona at 4 o'clock, which was fun, but nonetheless, it was a nice update on Riverside County transportation projects. We had a Coachella Valley Mosquito Vector Control Board meeting, nothing with DHS there this month. And lastly, the annual Rite of Spring, Little League opening day, which is always fun. It's a great way to welcome spring and watch these kids take the field for this annual rite of passage. City Manager Doria Wilms' niece led everybody in the prayer. Maybe we should have her come do it, or not the prayer and the pledge, have her come and do that here once. But my favorite part, as Dirk mentioned, is the high fives the kids give as they parade around the bases. Although my hand is still sore because those little kids, I think when they see an adult and they get to slap an adult, they really slap. And my hand still hurts. But it was still a lot of fun. So we had a lot of great stuff here. That's all I've got. Thanks.
After 25 years of being part of Little League, it's now the fist bump. They will slap your hand hard. Mr. Pitts.
All right. Amazing video, by the way.
Isn't that cool?
They've done some previous ones in the past, right? Yeah, I really, really like it. Top notch. So good evening, Mr. Mayor and City Council members. This is my City Council update for March 18th, 2025. This is a short one. I attended the Senior Center meet and greet event on March 12th, where I also had the pleasure of joining our City Council members and Mayor Pro Tem. I had the privilege of meeting our community seniors and updating them on positive public safety initiatives aimed at enhancing our neighborhoods. Also shared exciting news about new economic developments. This event included engaging discussions at various tables and a Q&A session with our neighbors. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and that completes my update.
All right, and mine won't be too long. I also attended the Desert X opening event there. I was only able to stay for a short period of time, so Mayor Pro Tem stepped in to say a few words for the city. Riverside County Transportation Commission met, but there's nothing that pertained directly to the city of Desert Hot Springs, so I won't bore you with the details on that. I just want to remind everybody, if you wanted to meet with the Assemblyman Wallace's office, they do have office hours here at the city of Desert Hot Springs. They utilize my office once a month, and you can check with our city staff if you have any questions about our state and the district that we all live in here. CVCAN held a Let's Talk About Cannabis. It's not a conference, what was it, just like a talk, right? And Ms. Newsom and I attended that, and I was able to speak on behalf of the city and talk a little bit about the state of our cannabis industry here in Desert Hot Springs. And you'll find that it's still very strong, and we'll have more of an update in the future at the State of the City. As mentioned, Little League opening days here. It's very close to my heart as I volunteer my time with Desert Hot Springs Little League, and been going on close to 25 years. Lynn Paul, who works for our city here, sang the national anthem. Doria Whelms did the prayer, and our staff did a fantastic job on getting our opening day open again. Little League has been in operation since 1972 here in Desert Hot Springs. A lot of you have seen the art murals going up on our walls of our businesses. We're going to have more on that coming very soon, but very excited about that. If you haven't taken a look in our downtown area or along Palm Drive, please take a look. We have some really world-renowned artists doing artwork on our walls here in the city of Desert Hot Springs. And then finally, just a note to the City Council, there'll be a disclaimer coming up on the future agendas. The City Clerk and the City Attorney and I spoke about it. There's a new disclosure law that you are mandated to disclose, and we're just going to put a disclaimer to remind you that if any agenda items, and you've taken a donation of over $250, is that correct, $250, that you must recuse yourself and notify the public of that reason. And I have a note here. And March 27th, God, it's coming up so fast. I gotta make sure I got that day off, is the Senior Inspiration Awards here in the city, or in the county. And each year, each mayor gets one pick, and the county supervisor gets 2 picks. And is there a cat in here? Okay, so I wasn't hearing things. So with that said, we have our animal partners here today, so cat must have come in and who's my senior inspiration? Thank you. Gosh, I got totally sidetracked by the animal, or by the cat. Sally Hedberg is our senior inspiration for this year, and we're going to honor her on the 27th, and I'll bring her to a council meeting after that to also honor her. I think I got everything. All right, we're going to move to the city council agenda, and for our first administrative item, we have no public hearings tonight. For our first administrative item is item number 3, funding request from Health Access and Research for Communities, which is also known as HARC. Mr. Soriano.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, City Council. So HARC conducts a survey of the entire Coachella Valley every 3 years, which covers demographic, social, and economic needs, health behaviors, healthcare access, preventative care, mental health, and more. Organizations in Desert Hot Springs have relied on HARC's data to prioritize health needs, create programs and services to address those needs, and obtain funding to implement those programs. The city has received a request from HARC requesting a funding contribution in the amount of $5,000 to support their endeavors towards the 2025 survey. And the City Council approved previous funding requests from HARC in 2016 for $5,000, 2019 for $5,000, and in 2022 for $5,000. I believe we have Dr. Jenna, and I'm going to mess this up, probably LeCount Heinley.
There you go.
Is in. Thank you. Is in attendance to answer any questions from the council, and that concludes my staff report.
I just call her Dr. Jenna. So if you want to push the button on there, that mic will come on. They hear you at home.
Yes, you can. Dr. Jenna is totally allowed. I am here on behalf of HARC. Gerald succinctly summed it up. I have to say DHS has a special place in my heart because you were the first city to support the triennial survey years ago in 2016. We are launching our data collection starting later this week or early next week. So I would really appreciate your support, and I'm here to answer any questions that you might have.
Great. Before we get to that, is there any other public comments on this item before we get to council members' comments? See nobody coming forth. I will just, I've always been supportive of this. We use the data for grant grant possibilities. We've used the data for, our presentations, and I always think it's a positive report. So I'll let anyone else ask any more questions.
And I just want to say that your data is good for anyone that's looking as a nonprofit and you need data to get grants. It's all there. Specifically, it's for all cities, but specifically if you're working with Desert Hot Springs, it's a good resource.
We've added some exciting new data points this time around that I'm really excited about. Some on air quality, some on disaster preparedness, which I feel like we all could do better at. Some on the impact of smoke and wildfires and floods. So a lot of people think, oh, it's just health data, but it's actually so much more than that. It's very, very broad and diverse, and a lot of, I saw the Ophelia Project pictures, and Ophelia Project uses the data, and my friends at One Future use the data, and it is a free resource for everyone to use, and we think it's very important to keep it free.
Any other questions or comments? I'll entertain a motion.
Move we approve the funding for ARC for this cycle for $5,000.
Second.
Please vote.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you all so much. I so appreciate it.
Item number 4 is the Animal Hospital transfer of ownership. We've been waiting and waiting and waiting. Ms. Wilms.
Very excited to present this item tonight to the City Council. Thank you, Mayor, City Council residents. The item before you, just to provide some background, lots of background. On November 7th, 2023, the City of Desert Hot Springs acquired the Animal Hospital located at 13700 Palm Drive, along with the Animal Sanctuary on Indian Canyon from the Humane Society of the Desert. On November 30th of 2023, the City of Desert Hot Springs released a request for interest for veterinary services to identify a suitable partner to provide high quality and affordable veterinary services for the community and the city's Animal Care and Control Division out of that facility. On March 19th, 2024, the City Council authorized the City Manager to negotiate and execute all agreements consistent with the conditions that were set forth in that previous staff report with Animal Samaritans for the transfer of ownership and operations of the hospital. In August of 2024, the City Manager notified the City Council that the City had been unsuccessful, unfortunately, in reaching agreeable terms and would need to release another RFI. In September of 2024, the City released another RFI for veterinary services. And following that release, the City engaged with Friends of the Palm Springs Animal Shelter to discuss the City's goals and needs for the successful operations of the Animal Hospital. They expressed a strong desire to proceed with negotiations to provide full-service, affordable veterinary services, which would include, but not be limited to, pet wellness exams, dental cleanings and care, spay, neuter services, vaccines, and microchipping. They also plan to provide community trap, neuter, return services of stray, unsocialized cats, which would help with a lot of the issues we're seeing now. These services will include financial aid availability to reduce the cost of veterinary care for qualifying low-income residents of Desert Hot Springs and surrounding communities. On October 15th, 2024, the City Council authorized the City Manager to negotiate an agreement with the Friends of the Palm Springs Animal Shelter for these purposes. So tonight, the negotiations have produced the following for consideration of the City Council. One is a transfer of ownership of the Animal Hospital property located at 13700 Palm Drive from the City of Desert Hot Springs to the Friends of the Palm Springs Animal Shelter, doing business as Greater Palm Springs Animal Allies. 2, as part of the initial acquisition of the property from Humane Society, the City did incur costs totaling a little over $100,000, $100,361.31 to cover delinquent property taxes that were owed by that previous property owner. So the proposed purchase and sale agreement with Greater Palm Springs Animal Allies would stipulate a purchase price of $100,361.31, plus discounted veterinary services for animals in the care of Animal Care and Control in an amount of $300,000, totaling $400,361.31, to be paid via discounted veterinary services for animals in our care as specified in a promissory note. Item 3, should the Friends of the Palm Springs Animal Shelter, doing business as Greater Palm Springs Animal Allies, wish at any point in the future to dispose of the property, the City of Desert Hot Springs would have first right of offer to acquire the property at its original purchase price. Item 4, the city would receive discounted veterinary services, 25% of advertised pricing during the term of this agreement, and discounted veterinary services following the successful satisfaction of the note as specified in the purchase and sale agreement. Finally, as the animal hospital is a charitable asset, the California AG and DOJ will need time to review and approve the charitable asset transfer. So during this time, the city intends to lease the building to Friends of the Palm Springs, I gotta quit saying that, to the Greater Palm Springs Animal Allies to allow for immediate access to the facility to prepare for the long-awaited operations. If these terms are satisfactory to the City Council, staff will proceed immediately to effectuate the purchase and sale of the property. And I am going to read out the recommendation. So item 1 of the recommendation is to authorize the city manager to negotiate, execute, and make substantive changes to the purchase and sale agreement and further negotiate and execute any and all documents to effectuate the sale of the real property located at 13700 Palm Drive in the city of Desert Hot Springs to Friends of the Palm Springs Animal Shelter doing business as Greater Palm Springs Animal Allies. 2, authorize the city manager to negotiate and execute any and all documents as required by any state and local agency, including but not limited to the AG and or DOJ, to effectuate the sale of the real property located at 13700 Palm Drive to the Greater Palm Springs Animal Allies, and authorize the city manager to negotiate and execute any and all documents to effectuate a lease with with Greater Palm Springs Animal Allies, ending at the close of escrow. That concludes my staff report. We have our friends here today to answer any questions, and that will do it.
Gentlemen, anything you'd like to add before we get into discussion?
I'm Dan Rossi, Executive Director of Greater Palm Springs Animal Allies, our new DBA. We're real excited about this relationship. We are ready and we have bids in place to make upgrades to the interior and exterior of the facility. We want to repaint the whole exterior. We want to do landscaping, new security lighting as well. So we're looking forward to not only operating this facility, but being a real partner and part of Desert Hot Springs. Any questions?
I'll open it up to, let me do public comments real quick and I'll bring
Sure.
you back up if there's any questions.
Okay.
Does anybody have any public comments? Yes, sir, you may come up.
He said painting the exterior, you're gonna lose the cute animals on the outside? No. Oh, okay, thank you.
Any other comments? Yes, ma'am.
My name is Sandra Munoz. I'm a homeless here in Desert Hot Springs. It's about time. Thank God. Please, first thing you guys do, get a homeless spay neuter because we've got so many male and female dogs out there. We've got puppies all over. As you can tell, he's screaming. He's 6 months old. So best choice that you guys could have done with Palm Springs. I mean, I worked for Animal Samaritans, but I've worked with Palm Springs. So let's get that thing open, please.
Thank you for your comments. Any other comments? All right, we'll close public comments. I'm going to start real quick and been excited about this for a long time. Excited for our partnership. This has happened quickly, and I'm just can't wait for the the ribbon cutting, get those doors open and get services back to our community that have been much needed for a long time. And really do appreciate you and all the volunteers and your board for taking this on, and it really fits in your vision, and we're happy to partner with you. Mr. Gardner?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and I'm going to echo that. I can't think of a better partnership than with you guys, in all honesty. I have been a fan of the Friends of the Palm Springs Animal Shelter, as it was called, for a long time, and you do a fantastic job in Palm Springs. I went to the grand opening of the Wildlife Center, and I was impressed. I know what you guys are capable of, and this is going to be a shining star, and it fits within our vision of animal services here in the city of being a no-kill shelter and providing services for our folks. And this, I think, the mayor and Ms. Pye and I, the years that we've been up here, getting that hospital opened, and it's been closed since 2017 probably, I think, or 16, would probably rank in the top 3 of things that our constituents have been asking for. And to see this come to fruition finally is fantastic. And I know you guys have got some work to do in there, but I'm excited about it. Our residents are excited about it. I'm getting really tired of answering the question when I go to the post office, the grocery store, when's the animal hospital opening? Soon, this spring, soon. So it's going to be fantastic. I think you guys are going to knock it out of the park, and we're just really excited to have you here. And I'm really excited to support this. I think it's a win-win for all of us all the way around.
I have nobody else in the queue. Do anybody else want to say anything? Yeah.
I just wanted to say thank you, Madam City Manager, for the way that you framed that. Everything you said, I loved it. Thank you for this partnership. As you guys know, I sit on the Riverside County Animal Control Commission with you guys. And this is great. It's been a long time coming, and this is such a rewarding partnership, and I'm so glad that we can have this asset and this partnership together with you. Thank you.
I'm ready to make a motion.
Please.
I'd move that we adopt, where'd it go? Item number 4, all 3 recommendations.
Second.
Please vote.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your partnership. We move forward. Our next item is item number 5, camping restrictions ordinance. Ms. Newsom?
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. On June 28, 2024, the United States Supreme Court ruled in Grants Pass versus Johnson that the Eighth Amendment does not stop cities from enforcing laws regulating public property camping. This decision is significant to our community. In response, Governor Newsom issued an executive order for state agencies to create policies addressing encampments and urged local agencies to remove them proactively. As nearby cities begin to enforce, encampments are relocating to our city. For instance, Caltrans has started cleaning encampments along the freeway, on and off ramps, expanding the number of encampments throughout our city. In 2023, the city set up The Hub, an unhoused access center to help those in hazardous encampments. However, moving individuals from public spaces to The Hub has been proving difficult. The city has seen increased criminal activity related to encampments, and risks such as vacant structure fires rise when individuals refuse services at The Hub. The ordinance before you this evening would implement measures to establish procedures for regulating encampments, which is essential to guaranteeing the public's safety, health, welfare, and harmony. If adopted, the ordinance would establish the following regulations: defining specific terms related to homelessness, camping, and encampments, and instituting regulations for unauthorized encampments and sleeping on public property, the abatement of encampments, the protection of waterways, and enforcement and penalties for violations. With respect to procedure on this item, it has 2 similar ordinances. 1, an urgency ordinance amending Chapter 12.04, camping restrictions of the Desert Hot Springs Municipal Code, and 2, a non-urgency ordinance amending Chapters 12.04, camping restrictions of the Desert Hot Springs Municipal Code. The urgency ordinance needs a 4 out of 5 vote of the council, needs to be supported by findings which are included in the urgency ordinance, and takes effect immediately. That said, the non-urgency ordinance is like any other ordinance which requires a majority vote and takes effect 30 days after its second reading. That concludes my report, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Do we have any public comments first? See no public comments, I'll go to the city council. Do I have anybody in the queue? I do. I have Ms. Pye.
Mike Rizzo is the person I appointed to the Public Safety Commission, and he has been wondering if, well, I'm asking, is this, would this work with the bus stops? But I asked this of Councilmember Pitts to find, because that's who I told to call, to find out what his answer was to that.
So that
You're
answer.
on the spot.
Well, no, that answer was the same answer that we spoke of. Actually, I believe we brought it to the city attorney. Was that because it's on the public right of way, that it would be something that we could enforce.
I don't have anybody else in the queue. Anybody want to make any comments? Yes, sir.
Just one question. It says the 48-hour notice. Is that a legal thing, or is that?
Yeah, so it's providing a reasonable notice for people who are camping in public spaces so that they have the opportunity to pick up any of their personal property willingly and move before the encampment is abated.
But it's not a legal necessity?
Can you
No,
pull your mic
it's
to-
not. Sorry.
No. Okay.
Yes. So there's two abatement types. A summary abatement, which would be something that would be immediate and only for very, egregious emergency violations, urgent violations. And then what we're codifying here tonight, which is the abatement of encampments. It's not a requirement, it's a reasonable notice for them to move from the encampment.
Okay. Madam City Attorney, is that your recommendation?
That-
My preference is, honestly, my preference is 24 hours.
Yeah, we when we helped draft the ordinance and talking to staff, this was definitely a point that we spoke actually quite a lot about.
Right.
Due process does require adequate notice, and so we don't have a specific case or anything like that that says, X number of hours or days is adequate notice. But in talking, we seen that this would be a reasonable amount of notice in order to give to somebody. So due process, in my opinion, would be complied with.
Okay.
The other thing, if I may chime in, the city has been really moving forward with all of our homelessness services that we're providing with the hub and with SWAG. And these are the processes that we are currently following, and I will say that they are working. When we have an emergency abatement, we are able to quickly execute on that. But this is just codifying, catching up our ordinances and codifying where we need to be now that Martin versus Boise has been overturned. So I understand the concern with wanting to expeditiously handle situations, but there is a process in place to do that, and our staff works very closely with Christina to do that, and this is something that we're all very comfortable with.
Anyone else? I didn't come up here. Sorry. Oh, you know what? I probably need to refresh it. Sorry. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Voss, we were just already go down the line that I wanted to go down there, and I where 48 hours came from. I mean, it was when you have an encampment next to a residence behind a building, I can understand 48 hours way out in the desert, but 48 hours right next to your home, a resident is going to say that 48 hours is too long. So if we don't have a statutory requirement for 48 hours, if we just have reasonable notice, and it's reasonable 6 hours, is it 3 hours, is it 30 minutes?
So the comment that I would make to that is that most of our encampments here in the city of Desert Hot Springs are actually occurring on private property and not public property, and so this is with respect to public property. Every week, we abate encampments with private property owner consent. We usually get that within 24 hours, and they're conducted that same week. So it is a very expedited process in that instance.
Okay. And I'm thinking we do have, there's one that pops up all the time on that little park on the corner of Cholla and Pearson, which I'm not sure if that's private or if that's city, but that little park area there. Where we haven't had, we've occasionally had a few in Tedesco Park, and so this ordinance will address that, but you'll still be able to do an emergency abatement if one goes into a vacant lot next to a house or against
Yes.
the block wall there behind the trailer parks, which is another spot that they're always trying to go after. So that'll still be able to be addressed sooner than 48 hours.
Correct. And the other thing that I would like to point out too is this is very specifically talking about encampments on in public right-of-way, which I don't want to be confused with trespassing onto private property. And there's a completely separate process for that, for folks that have been trespassed from properties that continue to violate the 602 notice. There is enforcement that is taking place there. And so if there is an arrest that is made due to somebody trespassing on property, those are cleaned up promptly as part of that as well. So there's several different things at play here. So I just want to make sure that that's noted.
And alluding back to the bus stop, so if somebody did set up in a bus stop, we could take that as an emergency action. We wouldn't have to, they wouldn't be there for 48 hours in a bus stop.
It depends on the circumstances, are they blocking access, path of travel? Are they starting fires? Is there, human excrement at the bus stop? Are there things that, it's very circumstantial, but it's possible.
Okay, that's what I've got, thanks.
Anyone else?
Going back to the bus stop, if their situation, real, a person is camped out at a bus stop, they sit here, they've got stuff over here, and down the way are two people that need to catch the bus, but they can't stand at the bus stop. So how long will that take?
They would be blocking access, and we would be able to abate immediately.
Okay.
And I'll make a motion then that we adopt both the urgency ordinance and the regular ordinance. If we can do that in a single motion, Madam Attorney?
I would actually prefer separate just because they do require different voting requirements.
Okay, so I'll make a motion that we adopt the urgency ordinance first.
So everybody's aware the urgency ordinance would take a supermajority of the city council, at least 4 votes to pass. That is his recommendation, or his motion is to approve the recommendation of item number 1. Any other comments or questions?
It's procedural, but he had made the motion, and we didn't second it, but however.
Are we good? Are you guys comfortable?
Yep.
All right, please vote.
Motion passes unanimously. This is an urgency ordinance of the City Council of the City of Desert Hot Springs, amending Chapter 12.04, camping restrictions of the Desert Hot Springs Municipal Code. The urgency ordinance goes into effect immediately.
And then in that case, we'll make the motion to adopt the first reading for an ordinance City Council adopting 12.04 camping restrictions.
A second.
Please vote.
Motion passes unanimously. The non-urgency ordinance will return on April 1st for second reading and adoption.
Very much. The last item on the administrative calendar is the interim city manager employment agreement. Ms. Marazzi.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. The item you have before you this evening is the employment agreement with Doria Wilms as interim city manager. Just for everybody's recollection, 2 weeks ago, the council voted 5-0 in closed session to appoint Ms. Wilms as the interim city manager. It was reported out of closed session properly. And pursuant to Government Code 53262, we are bringing it back for open session for your consideration. And her, the agreement is in fact in the agenda and in the packet.
I will take public comments at this time. Mr. Johnson, did you have some public comments?
Yes, sir. No, I'll wait next week. It's on. Yes, sir, Mayor and the council people. I really feel that Doria would be a perfect candidate to be permanent because she's been here for so long. And I ran across her when I met Charles Maynard, and you helped me with creating a special honor wall, which we couldn't get enough funds for, so that's okay. But she'd be perfect. She's not going anywhere. Because if she decides to, her tires probably won't work and the engine won't run like mine sometimes. But she's good, so I think you really just unanimously appoint her. You know, the change is already sitting there. Thank you.
Any other public comments? Yes, Mr. Martin.
Russ Martin, ditto what he said.
That was
Okay.
easy. Any other public comments at this time? Before we take this is mainly procedural. Even Chuck Maynard had an interim tag for a little bit. And so the city council has agreed to move forward with this and then come back in 60 days to discuss our choices on permanently appointing or moving forth on a search. And so we'll be back to you in 60 days. Any further comments or questions? I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
And please vote.
Motion passes unanimously.
We did have one item pulled from the consent calendar, the 2024 Housing Element Annual Progress Report. Mr. Voss, you pulled that. Did you have a specific question or do you want a full report?
No, not really. What I wanted to have Mr. Community Development Director do is just briefly go over some of the numbers so the public understands the dynamics of some of the requirements. And as they see projects coming through and they see, more housing come through, that on many of these things, our hands are kind of tied because of the state rules. And at the same token, these are the kind of numbers that to be expect down the pipeline. A lot of times they don't get a chance to hear some of these things.
Mr. Clark put all this effort into this report and this PowerPoint, so let's give him time to entertain us here.
I'll make it really quick, I promise. So basically, overall, the 2024 report was pretty good. We were a little less in entitled than 2023, but more in 2022. Permitted about the same and completed about 91 units. Would note that 62 of the 136 permitted units were infill, and that's a really good number because it means a lot of the vacant lots are being built on. And I just wanted to explain this notion of entitled. The way the state views it, entitled is when someone actually makes an application for a single building permit. That's a little bit different than the Planning Commission definition of, hey, we've approved this project, the development permit and design review. It can take a while for a developer to actually submit. These are some of the current projects that are entitled, but also submitting permits. You're familiar with them: Aventura Palms, Rancho Descanso, Skyborn Village 3, which is kind of going like gangbusters right now. A lot of permits coming in there, and Eagle Point. 151 single-family units. Our ADUs really jumped up this year. They're becoming far more popular. And certainly the lots that are larger that can accommodate them. Multifamily a little bit down, and manufacturing at 2. 6 of the ADU projects use the city's pre-approved plans, which save them money. Where we have to make up some units is in the affordable housing category. We're lagging behind there. We do have some projects that are in the pipeline. Green Day Village was approved at 220. They do have the Planning Commission version of entitlements. 2 other affordable housing projects are coming forward here really soon in the spring: Crossings at Camino Campanero and Park Lane Homes. That would bring our total to 476 of the 1,104 that we are under our RENA allocation. And then other things we did, we completed our LEAP grant. All the Title 17 work was done, as well as hosted various workshops with the county on first-time home buying, down payment assistance, and the home enhancement program. So that's my report, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have.
Any questions? Or are you just? I'm good. Awesome. Any other questions from City Council? Is there any public comments on this item? With that, I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion. Move.
All right. Motion is to approve staff recommendation. It's been seconded. As soon as it comes up on the screen, please vote.
Motion passes unanimously.
No other items pulled from the consent calendar. Do we have any public comments of anyone that didn't get to speak at the beginning of the meeting in public comments? See nobody coming forth, we're going to move, before we move to adjournment, just announcements. April 1st, it's not an April Fool's joke. We are having a council meeting here at 6 p.m. The Planning Commission will meet on April 8th, the Public Safety Commission on April 10th, and the council will be back here for its second meeting in April on the 15th. With no other business before us, we are adjourned.
Huh, so mine got pulled and yours.